So this basement flooded. As you can see, the water level was up to there because the sump pump here failed, and we had like 4 inches of rain in one day. So it kind of flooded everything in here. And the geothermal, WaterFurnace geothermal unit also got flooded. So we're gonna have to replace the boards and maybe the controller for the compressor on this. So I'll show you how we can do that. We couldn't get in here, so I don't know what's going to be involved here. Looks like the boards are okay so far. This is the breaker for the compressor controller, which is on the back side over here. So that might actually be bad, since the water level is probably, you know, up to here somewhere, or maybe even higher. We don't know for sure. All I know is I came here and I couldn't even get in because the water was so high. Let me stick my A tool on and figure out what what's going on before I diagnose anything. So it says safe mode standby, EEV communication error. So that's the electronic expansion valve board, which is that small board at the bottom down there. So you can see it right here. This small board right here says EEV right there. So that controls that. So maybe, hopefully, we only get away with that board being bad. We'll see if we can just replace that. So before that, I'll turn the power off just to make sure. The breaker is over here. Actually, it looks like it's been tripped already, so turn that one off. That's the compressor, the one breaker, and then this is the electric backup heat, which turns the controls off. So now that turns off the controls, the electric backup, because these WaterFurnace units are set up so that if the something happens with the compressor, it won't turn the power. Like if it blows the breaker like that, like you just saw, you can still have the backup heat, which that's what he's been running on, the backup heat since the flood. So that's what has been heating the house. So I ordered an EEV board from WaterFurnace, but they don't, on the 7 series unit now, they don't have that. So they sent this kit with like thermal pastes and some wires and sensors and stuff, and then directions. So I think what we can do now is, I believe the EEV can work off, I'm not sure if it's the AXB board or the ABC board, but it can work on one of those boards to make it, because it says to reflash the ABC and AXB board with the software. I think it off the, yeah. Oh, so it goes off the AXB board. That's what it looks like. Right. And the AXB, yeah. So it has the connections for the stepper motor. So this is the EEV board that exists now, which is right here. And then I gotta take off, like, I think it's this plug here, and it goes into P10, I believe. I'll check for sure. It says remove the EEV stepper motor control harness from that board 5-pin connector and connect to the AXB P10 5-pin connector. So that would be this one here, disconnect, and then up on the AXB, let's see here, this is P10. Yeah, so P10's right here. It says stepper on it. So I have to reroute that wire. You can see it has two little tabs here, so they go in one way. Like that. So it goes in like that. Remove the communication harness that connects the EEV power pin connector and the unit's variable drive 4-pin connector. And remove the LAT sensor orange connector and suction line thermistor yellow connector. These will no longer be needed and should be tied off and secured. So it sounds like all these wires here are no longer needed. So that's the communication one. And then these are sensors. One, two. So now that board is disabled, and we'll have to tie them out of the way. Which the board is, of course, doesn't work anyway, so. And then it says remove the board, so what you had to do is pull these tabs, squeeze them out, and make them out. Hard to see. There we are. As you see, looks like it got all corroded in there from the moisture. So we have to do, this is a suction line sensor that we got to put on now. So this has to go up to the P18 terminal there and then get rerouted through into the back of the unit for a suction line on the suction line in the back. So in order to do that, we have to remove this screw here, which is also a ground screw. This becomes the ground screw also. So It should always be in the unit. So what I'm going to do is route it through the grommet here. And up to right there where it's this one actually, P18. It's tight, my hands fit. Like that. Then inside the unit, hook it to the suction line. Just checking everything here. Probably right on the suction line there. So they give you this thermal paste, which they give you a whole thing full of it, but you only need a little bit. So puncture it here. And put it on the sensor. And then put it on the suction line. And then secure it and insulate it and zip tie these wires out of the way. Okay, get these wires. So zip tie these wires. And then just secure this, make sure this is secure onto the pipe. Take the and put the foam back on. And then wrap it back up with the foam. Insulation tape. That way it keeps a better accurate reading. And you can close the door. And make sure you always put the screw back in, because this is the ground of the whole board there. And these wires, which are no longer used, can be zip tied out of the way. To the bundle. And then this one over here, too. So this 7 Series does have the performance package. So it usually tells you the leaving air temperature, which is the sensor is up here. I believe, I'm just guessing, but I think it's maybe this orange connector that used to go on the EEV, because I think it has an orange on the other end. It's like an orange label on it. So it says that you have to reroute that up to the upper part. So in order to do that, you take off the top door. So I believe now this is the sensor that does the air temperature. So as the air gets pulled across the coil and it's warmer or colder depending on the season, and it gets sucked into the fan motor, this registers it. So now you gotta relocate. You got to use this sensor instead of that one that goes on the AXB board. Let's see if I can. got to go up into this harness here, which is kind of a pain. Maybe I can stick it through here. Might be easier. And then zip tie this up here, just like the other one. And then I'll zip tie it along the harness. Then you have to reroute these to the grommet, which is down here. Like that. And then it connects, if you have the performance kit, it'll already have this lock on there. If not, you have to put this one in to the board. But mine already has that, so. And you just plug these into the terminals. And then now you can program the board and you'll have your EEV working again.